Advertise it.
We're live? Okay. We are live. It is 4 p.m. and we'll call the Committee on City Operations to order. Please let the record reflect that all committee members are present. If I could have a motion for the July 9th minutes.
I move the July. Oh, I weren't here,
Yeah.
so right.
Yep, so I would move the July 9th minutes as written.
Okay. Proper motion. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Next, we are to public comment on agenda items. I know we do have someone online. If you are here as a general member of the public, feel free to raise your hand as well or come up to the table. If your item of business is on the agenda, we'll call you up at that time. So if we can take our online public comment first.
They just have to unmute themselves.
Deborah, could you please take yourself off of mute and then state your first and last name for the record?
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now.
Okay. Is it okay to proceed now?
Yes, please.
Hi, my name is Deborah Mulcahy, and I'm commenting in regard to the City of Lansing's public service request for waivers, the ongoing continual request for waivers in regard to noise as associated with the CSO project. We've been through this historically, and while Mark, who I see is present there, and I would agree everybody wants these projects to be done sooner than later. However, when the project was bid by the city, when the contractors bid on the project, and when the city awarded the project, the existing noise ordinance was in effect, and that means no construction on Saturdays. The community received notice that there were going to be 4 Saturdays that were specified in reference to work that needed to be done, and the mayor proceeded administratively in granting 4 specific Saturdays. I'm at a loss, and I have asked Mr. Jones to tell me how it is and where it is in the city ordinance that allows the mayor to do that. I understand 100% the reason for emergencies. This was not an emergency. This is a planned project. What I did learn was there was an issue in regard to the federal government telling the city that there was a risk, it came through the state, of losing $2 million. And as such, they were looking to save and not have additional costs to the public, which everyone should appreciate. However, the federal judge just ruled on that issue, which the state of Michigan was part of that case last week, and said, sorry, folks, federal government, you cannot change the rules of the game in reference to grants and contracts at this stage. So that should not be an issue. What the city public service is requesting is a waiver of Saturdays, all Saturdays till the end of September. And the reason they wanted this is because they said a couple of reasons. One, that the plants, being the asphalt plants, closed November 1. This is a project that was scheduled to be ongoing until the end of December. There are not enough days that the city of Lansing is requesting to proceed by just granting them Saturdays to get this project done. Those days don't equal the months of October, November, and December. Simple math, don't even need to do the calculation. You can see that. So I am totally opposed to the fact that this is an ongoing issue with the city of Lansing. And what I find actually most egregious is the fact that the city has said, yeah, we need to remember this is the West Side. Many people on the West Side want this project done yesterday. Actually, we wanted it done 30 years ago or 20 years ago, but that didn't happen. So don't tell us that we're going to proceed with taking your Saturdays away, pretty much the only quiet morning of a week, and we're going to start doing construction on that day because we need to meet these requirements of the federal government not providing us money and the $2 million loss. That's no longer an issue. Again, I still have no response as to where the mayor was allowed to, under the noise ordinance, grant what we would call an emergency for the 4 Saturdays that were granted by the mayor. And quite frankly, if it was an emergency, it should have been granted. This was not an emergency, and it is not an emergency. And if it was an emergency, then I would agree 100%. So I personally do not see how the city of Lansing is going to be able to meet their requirement of this project being done by the end of September of this year, if in fact they needed October, November, December by just doing these Saturdays. As such, I do not support the waiver request. Thank you, and I'm available for any questions.
Thank you for your comments, Deborah. We appreciate them. And we did receive your email. I will ensure that that is forwarded to our front office staff so that we can have that as part of the record.
Thank you.
Yes. Moving on, do we have other members of the public in the room that would like to speak on any agenda item? No? Okay. Moving on, we are going to discussion and action items. We'll start with 5B, the resolution to appoint Colleen Cole as a member of the Lansing Public Media Authority Board of Commissioners for a term to expire June 30th, 2029. Colleen, if you'd like to take a seat at the table. Thank you for being here with us this afternoon. We have received your application. I see that you did submit your application in June of this year. You're a fourth ward resident, and it says, lists your background, your experience, and your interests. So we just like to give you a few moments to elaborate on the application. Let us know why you're interested in serving on this particular in this particular way, and I'll open it up for any questions.
Yeah, certainly. So, been a resident of the city now for 19 months, and really excited about that. I've worked in Lansing for a long time, so to now be a resident, I really feel like I can get more involved. So when this opportunity came forward, I am really passionate about transparency and awareness about public media, the city, what we can do, make a difference. And so the board has some involvement in that, and so that's really where my interest lies. So now being a resident, just hoping to see where I can fit in.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments from committee members?
Just a quick question I ask everyone. Appointed to this board, you do have the time required for it, correct?
Yes.
We historically do have issues with people making meetings, so that's good to hear. And thank you for wanting to serve your community.
Questions?
Yeah, you mentioned being interested in transparency. It says that you're also interested in arts and culture, and specifically the Ovation. Did you want to share anything about that? Yeah, certainly. In full transparency, when I first got the opportunity, I didn't know how much connection there was to the Ovation. So that just kind of was the cherry on top. I have went to MSU, so I've been in this area for close to 20 years and been traveling to Detroit, Grand Rapids, all these places to see great live music. And so the connection to bring that experience here. I love Lansing. I think it's an amazing city. I think it's a diverse city. And I think that's one of the things that's missing. So really happy to be part of the Ovation Project. Thank you.
Anything else from the committee? Okay. Do we have a motion?
Sure. I would move the resolution for the appointment of Colleen Cole as a member of the Lansing Public Media Authority Board of Commissioners for a term to expire June 30th, 2029.
It's a proper motion. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes. The full council will vote on this resolution on Monday, July 27th at 7 p.m. If you're able to attend, you could be sworn in that night if council, moves forward with passing that resolution.
Do you know if you will be able to attend?
Real quick, I think so.
If not, you can make arrangements through the city clerk's office for swearing in.
Otherwise, we'll have you on a special ceremony that we can do right at the beginning of the meeting.
Yep, I can be there.
You can be there.
Perfect. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item 5C, the resolution appointment of Coleman, and is it Mate or Mate? Mate, okay, as a fourth ward member of the Human Relations and Community Services Advisory Board for a term to expire June 30th, 2028. If you'd like to take a seat at the table as well.
Hi, guys. Yeah, it's Kalman. but I just go by K, the letter, so you can all call me K.
You know, if you could read Kelly Vonoglu on a piece of paper, I would be very impressed. So thank you for that. Yeah, so, you know, we do have a copy of your application as well. It lists, you know, your interests in serving on this board. I did have a couple of questions. The first is that your application was submitted in December of 2025, and I just want to make sure that everything is still relevant in terms of contact information, you know, what your interest in serving on this board in particular. Has anything changed for you since then?
Yeah, nothing has changed. The reason why that I did apply at that time, however, I guess city contacted me. There were some tax issues. We had lived in several different states and places, and so just the tax situation was just we had, I guess, not paid some city tax right when we moved, and so yeah, I guess, but we got that figured out and got that all taken care of, and so that's why, yeah, I'm still going forward with it.
Okay, thank you. And so that has been resolved then. Okay. And, you know, in your application, you had said that you want to help create better human interactions by your service on this advisory board. And so I'm just wondering if you can elaborate on that a little bit for us.
For sure. I mean, you know, I'm a firm believer that the world is much better if we partner and work together as people. And, you know, my wife and I own a business, and I am, you know, a boss of people. And, you know, I am a firm believer that number one, you know, treating people with kindness is the best approach in life. And right, number two, that like we are stronger together. That we are better together rather than individualistically. And so I think that I have such a heart for us uniting and addressing issues together rather than separately. And so I plan to foster that in whatever space that I'm in.
Thank you. Questions from the committee?
Yeah, it says you graduated from Great Lakes Christian College and you have a master's in theological studies from Duke. Can you talk about, I assume, your faith-based perspective or something rooted within either religion, or how does that translate to community services, human services?
For sure. Yeah. That's a great question. Yes, I have those educations, and I was raised Christian. I no longer go by that title and such. And so, however, you know, my education, my background has formed a lot of my ethics and morality and such. And so I do stand by the biblical training of, like, you know, the greatest commandment is loving God and loving others. This whole idea that all of life and all of the beauty of it can be encompassed by those two things. And so, you know, like, let's leave God out of the picture for now, but like, you know, doing in this whole teaching of doing unto others as you'd want them to do unto you. And so I guess I approach all of my human interactions that way. And so as a boss, as a spouse, and
Thank you.
Councilmember Cost?
Yeah, first, the easy question, do you have time for the meetings if selected?
I do.
Okay. And then I guess the second question would be, you talk about the human interactions. I would be curious to know what role you see yourself in the HRCS board and playing with our unhoused crisis that we have here in Lansing.
That's a great question.
Some ideas you might have.
Yeah, you know, that's a great question. That is something that is you know, a huge reality in our city. And you know, I haven't thought about anything in particular. However, I would explore. I would personally, as a business owner, I would love to explore like fundraising opportunities from private for lack of private equity, private sponsors, I believe that especially in America, there's just so much money to go around, and I understand that there are many governmental positions, programs that are available to these folks. However, they don't always have the means to get those and such. And so, however, if we could somehow, I guess, reach into the pockets of all the wealthier, and like a lot of little goes a long way. And so maybe fundraising opportunities to, either whether it is taking old buildings and then converting them into housing units. I mean, I think about all these extra storage space units that go up. They're just old buildings that are converted into storage space, and so I'm sure that housing could be done in the same way. And I know that there are old buildings that exist in Lansing that could have that happen. So I don't know. I guess maybe just off the dome, yeah, like a fundraising opportunity might be something that we could look into or.
Right. How much do you know about the Nova project in Lansing and where it's at right now?
No, I can't say that I know anything about it really. I've heard of the name, but I haven't really looked it up. No.
And then HRCS was your first choice to serve. And this is just my curiosity. Did you apply for this on your own, or did someone say, hey, you should apply for this?
No, for sure. I mean, I did apply for it on my own. However, of course, my wife is also a member of the city and such, and so she encouraged me. But I guess as I kind of mentioned, I do care so much about people, and I'm such a people's person, extrovert, and this and that, and so I guess. With my skill set, I thought this one would be the most relevant, and so that's why I applied for this one.
Sure. And then the last question, what business? I keep hearing business. What business do you own?
We own a Peculiar Coffee Company.
Okay,
We're a mobile coffee catering business.
sure. I like coffee. That's all I got.
Yeah, just one last question. I know, and I kind of maybe picking up on where the Nova question was going. Are you familiar with the Mod Pods for the unhoused or any of that conversation that's been happening recently? And the only reason I ask is because it is quite a large topic that this board has dealt with, has been well versed in. So just understanding your interest, wanting to serve, caring for the unhoused, that would be a large area of interest that you may want to look further into.
Yeah, and to answer your question, exactly. No, I have not done much research into this. However, I'm coming into this, as I said, as a business owner, as a Lansing city member, and as someone who wants to be involved in the city, because of course our business is Lansing based, and then we serve so many Lansing people, and I guess I just want to give back to the city my time and my energy and my passion and such. And so having had a master's degree, I'm very familiar with research and done a ton of reading. So exactly, I can easily and willingly get caught up on issues and have understanding so that I can give a more formulated thoughts in this and that. But at this moment, I have not spent the time of researching all the issues that lie at the heart of the unhoused population.
Sure. Okay, thank you. Any other questions, Councilman Cost?
Just quickly, if a different board were to have an opening on it that maybe suited, here's my concern. We asked about the Nova project, which is a massive part of HRCS. And I mean, the biggest thing they have been doing, I think, as of the last 8 months. It's been well documented all over the news. I'm concerned that you don't know about it. And I'd like to see people serve on boards that pique their interest. And I don't know if HRCS is the board that fits you the best. It sounds like your interests are certainly, you've got a business and people oriented, in general. I feel like you're describing a corridor authority would be a really good place, or arts and culture. I don't know what's open. I'm just throwing it out there. Because, HRCS, and those are the basic human services. So it's, looking at grants that are given to groups every year, and seeing what groups get those grants. Dealing with the NOVA project, and the Mod Pod, whatever that's going to look like. So, I mean, that is very focused on those very narrow issues. I'm glad you're prepared to serve. I'm just hope that you do a little bit of homework and maybe do some speed reading on the Elk project pretty quick, because you're going to be dealing with it. I mean, if you get onto this board, immediately you're going to be dealing with it.
No, I understand, yes.
Well, and I just think that that speaks to the merit of, how much outreach they've really done. Because if they've been doing this for the last 8 months and people still don't know about it, that tells me more about the integrity and the capacity of that department to get the word out there. But I think you have an interesting skill set. And so if there are no further questions, I would move the resolution for the appointment of Kay Mate as the fourth ward member of the HRCS Advisory Board for a term to expire June 30th, 2028.
It is a proper motion, but before we vote, could you please pronounce your first name once more for me so we have it correct?
Alman.
Halman.
There's accent marks on all of my vowels, but exactly English doesn't have that.
Thank you. That is a proper motion. All of those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Okay. Again, we will have this in front of the full council on Monday, July 27th. Are you available to attend that meeting at 7 p.m.? Okay, this will be a special ceremony at the beginning of the meeting. Thank you. Thanks for being here. Okay, moving on to item 5D, the resolution for nonprofit recognition, DAP Service and Resource Center. Do we have, hello, would you like to take a seat at the table? And you are Yolanda Pope?
Yolanda Pope, yes.
And afterwards, Yolanda, if you'll sign in on sign sheet for me.
Okay.
Thanks so much for being here this afternoon. We took a look at the packet. It looks like all of the appropriate documentation has been submitted to the committee, your bylaws, your articles of incorporation, filing endorsement with the state of Michigan. So would you like to just share with us a little bit about this resource center and what you plan to do for the community through this nonprofit recognition?
Sure. So I started DAP Services and Resources in 2021. The goal of the organization was to provide case management to underserved seniors in the community. And so that's the core of what we do. Since then, we though have progressed, and we also provide supportive housing services in the community for underserved seniors. And so the goal of DAP Services is to just ensure there's equity and access and utilization of resources and services for healthcare and housing for the seniors in our community. The reason why we applied for this recognition is because we're having a fundraiser and we need to have a bingo license.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is one of those requirements.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the committee?
She had me at bingo.
It's first bingo too.
Oh, she had
Well,
me.
now you have me. Okay.
All are invited.
That's great.
Just,
Please.
this is the, if I'm reading the address correctly, that is the old Ingham Regional, right?
Yeah, we're in the nonprofit hub on the
Okay,
third floor.
that's what I thought. Well, I appreciate all that you do for our seniors. I know that it can be challenging, right? And finances are challenging for many of our seniors, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's a passion of mine, so.
Yeah, I mean, I just echo what Council Member Koss said. I mean, these services are needed throughout the community. So kudos to your organization for helping and doing your part and assisting those in need.
I would move the resolution for the nonprofit recognition for DAP Service and Resource Center.
That is a proper motion. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you so much for being here this afternoon. Okay, moving on to item 5E, resolution to set a public hearing on the noise special permit through Hoffman Brothers, Inc. to allow for combined sewer overflow, CSO, for the Ottawa Street project.
Hi.
Good afternoon.
Hello, Mark Jones from Public Service. Give you a little background on this project. Originally, we had slated to start this project. It was a much larger project. It was going to be Ottawa from Capitol to Grand and Washington from Allegan to Kalamazoo. That one kind of got shelved because of some conflicts we had with the Army Corps of Engineers and their requirements, and the cost ended up being like 3 times the cost of what a normal project would have been. So anyway, the long story short, that project was shelved. However, the House of Representatives is in the process of getting heated sidewalk placed on their frontage for the Anderson Building in Ottawa. And so in order for us to get some sewer work done ahead of them, we are basically tying over some laterals, installing some water main, things like that. We started this project a couple weeks ago, and a 150-year-old water main broke immediately, and then we had a gas leak, and so there's a whole lot of issues on this. I mean, I guess you have to expect it when you're in downtown. There's a whole lot of utilities underground, and we just weren't able to see it before we actually opened up the ground. That said, we are trying to get this project pushed forward, making sure that we get the road paved before Silver Bells so we can get all that put together. And so in lieu of all that, we'd like to see if we can get work on Saturdays in this portion. Basically, I think this the request goes through November 14th. I doubt we're going to go that far because that is very close to Silver Bells. So, yeah, I mean, the immediate area, I think the only residents in that area, I believe there may be one apartment complex and then the hotel. But for the most part, I think it's government and businesses. So, yeah, we're just looking for as many Saturdays as we can get in there. So.
Any questions from the committee on this one?
No, I think we just want to, since we had one person for public comment for this, these are to set the public hearing. Yes.
Correct. And it will be for August 10th.
August 10th. And
I almost said October, so I had to
believe
think.
the public comment is as to the next special
Yes.
request, but yes.
Yes.
Yes, related to.
But it-
Hey, CSO anything. I'm just trying to cover.
I know. They all run together.
Will the state be providing heated sidewalks for us as well?
They are in, I think what they're doing is they're putting it through our back entrance, the door that goes in off of Ottawa. So that all on the south side will all be heated sidewalk from Capitol up to the alley. On the other side, it's just their frontage, and like the Hobnob Coffee Shop will not get that. So, but again, we're going to be moving out of here in 6 months anyway, right? So.
Use our tax dollars to get heated sidewalks and not give us any.
Yes.
All right, any further questions?
No, I would move the resolution.
Okay, that is a proper motion. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Again, that public hearing will be August 10th.
Oh, and can I make a request that if we don't have any public comment on that particular one, if possible, the approval could be expedited that night? I know that had been done in the past where sometimes it can be approved same night as a public hearing and not have to be referred back to committee. I don't know if that's, I've heard of, I mean, I know this has been done in the past. I don't know if that's just at the.
No, that has been done in the past. I won't give you a definitive answer now unless you have something to add
I
here.
was thinking maybe law might
Yeah.
know the answer to that.
I will bring that. I'll ask that question to the office, basically, so.
Because we've got some time, but I think there's certain items that we can do that way, then there's certain items that law
Yeah,
prohibits.
I just want to be clear on what we can do, so I'll get back to you.
Yeah. Just wanted to put that out there. Thank you.
Thank you. Yep.
Mark, thrown in a.
Yes.
Okay, and moving on to item F, resolution to set a public hearing on noise special permit for Levitt and Stark Excavating Inc. to allow for combined sewer overflow CSO 015 South project. And again, we did have a public comment to this specific resolution. And just for anyone who is interested, this project is occurring between the boundaries of West Shiawassee, North Jenison, West Michigan, and Verlinden. So that's the general area that we're speaking on. And, you know, for utility and infrastructure improvements associated with the CSO project, the request is to have Saturdays from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. from August 29th, 2026 through October 31st, 2026. So if you'd like to go ahead and give us a little background on this one as well.
Yeah, so this is a project that has been going on for a long time. This is our 4th year in this project. We started on the east side of MLK. And I believe we started, that would have been 2023. And there was a noise waiver granted for that year. And I think the subsequent year, 23 and 24, we requested it for 25, but were denied, and they have been working diligently on it there. I didn't put it in the resolution, but Deborah's comment about the potential loss of funding. Basically, what happened on this is that we were awarded a $15 million grant for this project. And part of that was part of the American Rescue Plan that was passed in 2022, I believe. So that part, and then we also have an SRF loan part, which is what we fund all of our CSO projects through. Their requirement is that it has to be a 50-50 split between the grant and the loan. So if we don't spend twice the amount of the loan, then they would scale back the grant to a 50-50 split. So, and we were on track for all that. Like the original grant proposal or grant agreement said we had to spend all the funds by December 31st. Well, a couple months ago, Eagle came back to us and said, State Budget Office through the federal government said, no, you have to be done by September 30th. So given our pace of construction, we were anticipating we were not going to be able to spend all the funds and would potentially lose out on $2 million worth of grant funding if we did not by September 30th. Now, we have asked for an extension from Eagle, and so we're in that process. We're kind of going back and forth and seeing if we can get an extension to the end of November. And I'm fairly confident that we'll get it, but it's not going to be guaranteed. So as part of this project, we decided that we would attempt to get the noise waiver for Saturdays for the rest of the year to give us the best chance we could to meet that deadline and not lose out on any funding. I know we've had a lot of comment from the neighborhood, and you know, we can do what we can, but you know, we wanted to see if we can just get this done and make sure that we're not losing out on this funding. So you know, this is obviously a opportunity for the public hearing, and everybody can say their piece and council can do what they feel is right. But we just wanted to put that out there. The other thing is, I guess, when we come back to committee after the public hearing, we'll have the contractor there to basically kind of make his pitch for the approval, and can hopefully answer some questions, because we have had some delays on this project. A number of different issues. And so maybe he can answer that and to why why he feels that Saturdays are needed, so.
Quick question, would he be available to make public comment on the public hearing date, so that more folks are aware of some of those?
I could ask him and see if he's willing to do that.
So you said that you're asking for an extension with Eagle, right? And that's in motion. If Saturdays are incorporated into your timeline, do you think you have a very strong chance of meeting your deadline? Or is this more of a good faith effort to say we're doing everything?
I mean, given September 30th would still be a very tight timeline to get this thing finished. Like Deborah was mentioning, I did mention to her that in November, the asphalt plants close. And so we're kind of stuck to that like early November timeframe for when we can even get these things done. So he does have, I think his latest schedule shows like early October for completion. So it's possible, and that is not including Saturdays. So I would say there's a good chance that we could
Have a better shot at it.
Yeah.
With Saturdays.
Right. Now they have had some equipment issues. I think that has caused some delays on this, but I can't really speak to that. I would defer to the contractor on why they've been missing deadlines. So, but we just, and like she said, yes, we did get an admin noise waiver from the mayor on this. I didn't have a chance to respond to her email, but in the city ordinance for these noise waivers, it does grant, it doesn't mention emergency in the language. And according to what I understand is advice from OCA, that the mayor has the ability to grant up to 4 days per project per year, I believe was the advice. I can't say for certain, but that is what I heard from our team. So
Does that sound accurate to you, or?
It could. I want to just confirm that with the main city attorney. That's spoken.
I don't think I spoke to him personally, but I think Andy Kilpatrick may have. So that's what I was going to.
Councilman Cost?
And I appreciate you being here, but perhaps you could request that Greg starts coming to these meetings if we don't have, we keep asking things, we're not getting answers, and that's not your fault. I just think maybe Greg should be here because I think those questions are important when we're hearing things from, two folks now, from Mark and then from Deb, and I don't have it in front of me to look at the ordinance myself or to know what OCA said. So I just asked the chair that.
Sure. Thanks for that request. We'll work on that in the interim between meetings and have those conversations. Okay, so for the purposes of today's meeting, the resolution is to set the public hearing, right, to hear from our community members, and that date would be August 10th. Do we have a motion for that?
So moved.
Okay, proper motion. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Public hearing will be August 10th.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, moving on to item F, the resolution for special assessment snow and ice removal. for winter 2025 to 2026. We do have updated documents in our packets that reflect the addresses that we will work with today. When we left our previous meeting, there was a question on a potential duplicate.
Mhm.
And just to let you know, it was pointed out to me before this meeting that we may have another duplicate, and I just want to go over that. So if we could put our attention toward item number 1, 653 Vernon Avenue. We had the same date of service and the same amounts for the same amount of time, but separate work order ID numbers.
Looks like different dates of service.
Oh, sure.
16,
Yeah,
18.
right. There was one notice in our
Yeah.
previous packet.
Yeah, yes, I don't think we had pictures for both dates. This is the
Correct.
issue.
So that one, the issue is a glitch in their system. The actual address that work was done was at 710 Vernon, and then when we have to attach a parcel to that work order, and somehow it kind of, I'm assuming it the one that's previous, which is 653 there. So
I'm sorry, what address are we looking at? 653?
Yeah, the top
Vernon.
one, they're
Okay.
coded in lavender. Mhm. Okay, so that is a duplicate.
So
It's an
it was
error.
geocoded incorrectly, so it attached to the wrong one.
yeah,
So
it should have been 710, but it's call out 653. So
the 710, do we have any information on that or? I guess what are we supposed to do?
Yeah, I don't even see a packet for 7.
yeah, that's the thing. It's not correct. So that thing we can't do
Oh,
this one
okay.
since we didn't send out to the correct address either.
Which one is correct?
Yeah, which work order ID number and date?
Oh, sorry. So this is incorrect and this is correct. So the incorrect one will be 330101332271121.
It's a work order 1011403.
Oh, sorry. So that was-
403
That
is
is the
correct?
incorrect one. That is the correct one? Okay.
403 is.
Yes, 403 is the correct one.
And that is for that address, 653? Okay.
And the work order ending in 376 is the incorrect address listed. And we
That is correct. Yeah,
don't
that's.
have additional information on
Yep.
that.
Okay. Bill, I mean, are we looking to bill 710 or is it just,
think we can at
710
this
we
point.
cannot because we didn't send the bill.
gotcha, so it's just gonna be,
Okay, and question, if the work ID number is here, we do have, I mean, I don't know if the rest of the information aside from the owner's name and parcel ID is correct. I don't know if any of the information there would be correct for that address. Is that no?
For 376, no, that would be. All of the information that's attached to it is from the wrong parcel number.
Okay, so
Gotcha.
the one for the 1216.
just, we don't even know if it's the right dollar amount.
Right, so that's the one that was the error for date of service. We have 1216 and 1218.
The 1216 is the data error.
Okay.
So would we need a motion to, I mean, I guess it's not even clear to me if they received anything from your office for an assessment at the address that's not correct on our spreadsheet. Does
So
that make
for,
sense?
for 710, they have received nothing. And
710 has received.
710 has.
So we have nothing to act
So
on.
we,
Yeah, so we
Okay,
have 710.
great. Okay.
653 got both notices, correct?
correct. So
One
at
is correct and one is not.
So
Okay.
are you able to send a new notice corrected with if passed, the proper dollar amount? Or I guess,
It goes on the roll.
right, it would be whatever you guys adjust to the roll, I think.
okay.
So, and because both are on,
It-
the motion would be to remove the one since it was an error and then
So
whatever
if-
motion you decide on the other.
In making the motion to remove, if we could refer to the work ID number, because I think that gives us the correct information
Yes.
to go on to remove that from the roll.
Yep, and you can do it also by the date.
Okay.
To cover, just so we make sure we have it all.
Okay, why don't we handle that one first, the one to remove?
So I move to remove work order item 101-1376 from the roll.
Yes, is
Is that correct?
proper motion.
Yeah.
Okay.
I need a yes or no
Yeah.
here.
Thumbs up. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, now let's look at 653 Vernon Avenue. So that is the date of 12/18. The amount of $499 for up to 120 minutes of service that was provided. We do have the packet. We do have photographs of the before and after the work that has been conducted. It looks fairly straightforward according to the photographs submitted by the department. Any questions from committee members on this?
No, I would move to deny the appeal.
Okay, that is a proper motion. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries. Now, the next one, I understand, Councilmember Cost, you would like
Yeah.
to.
I would like to be recused from this, because of a previous personal relationship with the owner.
Oh,
I move to recuse Councilmember Cox from 101 East Miller Road.
that is a proper motion. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, now let's take a look at 101 East Miller Road. The service date is January 30th for up to 40 minutes of service in the amount of $219. According to the photographs provided, there was a notice placed on the door of the residence. Have a before picture of a sidewalk covered in snow. And then the second photo of having been removed from the property. And we can also see in the background, the notice remains on the door frame of that residence. Any other information from the department? I know we've been through these several times and we have reviewed the packet several times by now. So Member Martinez, any questions here?
I don't. I would move to deny the appeal.
Okay, that is a proper motion. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. And just another note on these, as Councilmember Cost has said in the past, this is not something we enjoy working through or denying claims of appeal, but we do have to go with the clearest and best information that is provided to us. And we have clear documentation. We do move forward accordingly.
And I think it's important for people to know that this is all in reference to the ordinance. Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
Another item I would like to bring forward, there was a work ID number for South Washington Avenue. The work ID order number is 1011124. And there was an email received. This is in your packet from the
It's not,
clerk's
Keith,
office.
it's not on the appeals.
Yeah, it's
So,
not on the
yeah.
roll. It was determined that this particular address never received a notice, and that was confirmed. And so it's my understanding that the council president was contacted on this particular address to see if it should be included or dismissed, and he did approve the dismissal option. So it was not included on the roll, but I did want to note that on the record.
No, actually, it is on.
It is on the roll.
It
but
is
it will
on,
be-
it's not, these are the appeals. The
Right.
roll is
the roll is-
everyone,
Right.
not everyone has appealed.
Okay, I see.
So it is on the roll, so we do need a
A
motion.
motion to remove
Again.
from the roll.
Yes.
Okay.
So moved.
But
Yeah. Well,
Go
hold on.
ahead.
There's a question. Councilmember Cost?
why, I'm not following completely why we're removing this if it's properly on the roll.
It's on the roll,
Because it
but,
wasn't
but they weren't notified. The,
notified of the public hearing.
No.
it's, no,
I'm thinking,
go ahead.
it's listed as a site address of just South Washington Avenue.
Okay.
Is that
yes.
the issue is?
Yeah.
This is the email that we got from the clerk's office, so.
So the clerk states that a bad address for one of the assessments, by the time it was returned to the office, it was too late to send again within the 10-day notice period. The clerk had consulted with the city attorney and came up with two options: resolution to set a second hearing or to dismiss this individual assessment. And do you feel that we should dismiss this individual assessment at this point?
I don't know about that one. It's, it just, they haven't been notified properly. So if they were, then, and we didn't send anything back out too as well. So we did.
What is the, 'cause
It's $359. So it's this one that is highlighted right there.
You all have this right from the clerk. Well, okay,
We're looking.
thank you.
it says President Spatafor selected for option 2, dismiss this individual assessment from the roll.
That's the email. Yep, that's the email that was sent to us.
Yeah, they didn't receive the notice and then there wasn't time to reissue a notice in time for this business to move forward. And because my understanding from having read through this is that was on the city for not providing proper notice. And so that was the option that was selected at that time. But if we'd like to have more discussion about this, we certainly can.
I would move to dismiss work order 101-1124 from the roll.
Any conversation before we vote? Councilman?
I would just say I'm going to vote against that. I think that, you know, a resolution for a second hearing just for this assessment, I think that we just went through these assessments, right? And made a lot of tough choices. And I think just someone wasn't noticed and I'm not saying we don't want to do the work. I think because we see that this has to kind of be a process thing again, for me, that's not a really good reason to it's almost a slap in the face for everybody else that was on here because of technicality. I certainly would like to be able to get out of a ticket on a technicality, but I still get parking tickets even as a council member.
Okay, I hear both of you, and these are tough choices, tough decisions we have to make. My perspective, you know, before we actually take the vote is that when there's a slip up by the city, we also own that. So I'm inclined to support the removal from the roll, not that it makes it any better or easier to take in, but this one was on us as the city. And so with that, we do have a proper motion to remove this particular work order ID from the roll. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you. And now what we would need is a motion. No, I'm sorry.
So there's that second duplicate that I found at the end of the roll. And I'll get it to you. Hold on just a minute.
Okay.
I'm trying to do calculations on what the final roll will
Sure.
be.
The address is 304 South Holmes Street, and that is on the smaller roll document, the back page, the very last page, 41. It is the 4th line down, 304 South Holmes,
His roll.
and then the very last line, and it says unattached work order,
This is like the
304.
unattached work
That
order.
one was already removed.
Okay, it wasn't on the roll. So because these 300, 304 and 312
Right.
were all the same owner.
So he
They all did that.
contacted me.
He did.
I thought that had been
Okay,
removed
okay.
already. I believe that has been removed prior
So
to
this was removed prior to.
sending the final roll to you guys.
Okay, it has not yet,
Yep, I understand.
because we have to do that to send it to the clerk. So
Understood. Let me just,
you can, again, make a motion to remove that final.
yeah, if that would clear it up,
Yes.
be okay.
So it would be the duplicate.
Duplicate, the one that is noted on that form with unattached work order.
It doesn't have-
Okay.
I just have to remove it
Thank
from the
you.
roll, but I do believe we still might. need a
Okay.
motion.
Okay, I move to remove unattached work order.
Thank you.
Hey, you're lucky I didn't say Hoffman Brooks.
Okay,
Uh,
so
And that is for the 304 South Street, an attached work order. That is a proper motion. All those in favor, please say aye. Motion carries. And so the proper language for now this motion
is
for the roll is for the amended.
roll for the total.
Okay, so I move the roll as amended for the total of $62,034.
Okay, that is a proper motion. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you for helping us work through this lengthy list of claims of appeal. It's been a long road. I appreciate your attention, and offering context and helping us work through these really tough decisions.
I appreciate it as well, and hopefully next year's snow roll will be very small. It won't take. Thank you for your time for this.
Thank you
Thank you.
very much. Before we move on to our last item, it was discussed, not at our most recent meeting, but at one of our meetings when we were tackling this, these documents, these addresses, and making these decisions. It was mentioned we may want to review the ordinance as a committee. I think we found maybe a little disparity. Maybe there is some work to be done to avoid some of the situations that we've seen over the last few months. Is that something this committee would be interested in taking up in the future?
I agree. I think that would be something we should look at and perhaps look at expanding to 2 different days, where we're doing this twice a year, not once a year.
Mhm. Yeah, thank you. And so if the city attorney's office could assist us in, so in an ordinance review, we would like to have that as a topic of discussion at one of our future meetings, which we'll give you plenty of notice for, and we'll have those discussions, see where we can move the dial there. Okay, thank you. Moving on to our last item of business, discussion item 5H, continued discussion on the renaming of Cesar E. Chavez Avenue. I know that while they did not raise their hands to speak during public comment, we do have some folks in the room with interest here. James Lennon, Executive Director of OTCA, as well as Felice Rodriguez here with Ingham County. I'm sorry, I don't know that you're representing Ingham County here in this meeting, but that is your affiliation. So thank you for being here. Just a bit of background before we open the discussion.
If you didn't sign in, please do. Thank you.
As a discussion item, now this was tabled in April. Do we need a motion to untable in
Yes.
order to discuss?
Yes.
I
Okay,
move to untable the discussion on renaming Cesar E. Chavez Avenue.
okay, that is a proper motion. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Okay, so based on the initial discussion, over the course of a few months, Councilmember Cost and I have attended meetings with Old Town business owners, as well as members of the Latino community. And we heard some really good, solid feedback, some concerns, a lot of questions stemming from those meetings with community members.
Shifting views.
Yeah, over time, there have
Yeah.
definitely been some shifting views. And in the most recent meeting that was held, there was a desire to really bring the neighbor voice, like not necessarily the business owners, but the residents of that portion of town, bring them to the table, offer more in terms of communication, offering their insights, what their experiences have been, and what they think about, these next steps moving forward. So, Councilmember Costa, do you have a comment?
I think that first of all, thank you for, being present and active in those meetings, and getting snacks for the second meeting. I think that the dialogue was very clear. They would like to have another group where we are bringing in business owners, the Latino community, and also the residents that are up and down Cesar Chavez Avenue, to the west and to the east. I think there's a lot of stakeholders, and I think it's a great idea. Maybe if we put a pin in this again and we get that group to the best of our ability together in one room, everybody in one room, and kind of, I think, work our way out of out of that. And I also think that there was some conversation about using technology. If we can't reach folks, maybe we can do it with, Facebook, or there's bunch of different platforms, but Facebook comes to mind where you can encircle an area, right? And be specific in what you're targeting and asking. So we could have analytics and data, just to kind of get the feel, I think, for where everybody's at. Because I think it has been clear from the start that this is costly for businesses, but I think there's a cost too for residents, right?
Right.
Their time is valuable. And this is a lot of different changes. So I think that putting a pause on this, maybe getting that meeting together and then collecting more data. Also watching the national mood, right? To make sure that we're not being knee-jerk reaction, that we're doing this in a thoughtful way.
Sure. Yeah, I appreciate those comments. Councilmember Martinez, do you have anything to add?
No, I was hoping to hear from you all or any other pieces of the conversation you felt were important that you all heard.
Yeah, I certainly have some comments and ideas, but James or Felice, if you'd like to offer anything in terms of feedback or opinions at this time.
Okay, so I would probably reframe the language around pausing and just say you're being more inclusive and gathering more data. And then that way, yes, creating a survey, a QR code, making sure that voice is heard in the community as well as from businesses. One of the things I think, if anything, that the Mod Pod situation taught us was that as much as we communicated, we didn't communicate enough. And so I like the idea of Facebook as like an entity to utilize. However, we know the demographic with that tends to be Gen X and above, right? So then you got your TikToks and so whatever social medium you use, just making sure you make it accessible for multi-generations.
I use the TikTok. I know how.
Okay, I'm not doing the TikTok.
The World Wide Web. Thank you, Felice, for your input.
My good friends on AOL.
Yeah, in addition to that, as far as the OTCA goes, we are happy to assist in that communication. We have a pretty broad reach on, Old Town Lansing social media channels. We always have the challenge of community members thinking that the OTCA and Old Town makes the decision as far as the renaming of the street. And so we want to be really careful about the language that we use and that we share in that way. So it isn't miscommunicated that the OTCA is somehow responsible for the name change and the ideas behind the change. That's not our intent at all. The intent is to be a supporting partner through the process. Our business community is prepared for a name change if it does happen. And they also really appreciate the process that council's taking right now and really thinking about it, not being knee jerk and diving into every angle of the topic. So no, we appreciate the process thus far and happy to be a partner as we move forward.
For that. So some takeaways that I have heard from some of these meetings, there's a concern about timing was a big one that I took away from our most recent interactions, right? We had a business owner wasn't the business owner, the partner of a business owner who was saying if a change occurs, it was more of a request, please avoid the holiday season. I mean, they have, several affiliates that they ship to and from, right? That if a name change were to occur near the holiday season, it would be very disruptive, not only for them, but for a variety of other business owners. So we were asked to take that into consideration as well. I've also recently read an article from MLive that featured the city of Grand Rapids as they are going into the same type of process. They work a little bit differently than we do here in Lansing, but they are having these conversations as well. And so I think it's really interesting to see, and I will say separately, we have also had the chance to interact to understand what's happening on the national level, right? And communities are handling this a bit differently, right? Depending on what they're hearing. So I think it's good to be aware of what's happening statewide and nationally, but also to work appropriately for our community and speak to the needs of what they want. So I do like the idea of social media to get the word out. And I also like if we could take an opportunity, maybe a more hands-on approach that we can organize together, maybe in conjunction with OTCA, with our office staff as well. Something that could be, I don't see this as an either or, maybe it's a yes and. I think we are very familiar with not necessarily door knocking, but leaving information where it's appropriate, unless there's a no soliciting sign or something to that effect. Maybe it's a door to door, just a 1-page document that informs residents on that, on that stretch of the avenue that would be affected by a name change, letting them know when the gathering date and time will be. And then maybe it's a link or a QR code to, just some information, or maybe just list out that information in a format that's easy to understand.
And I'm happy on a Saturday to go through the first ward and knock
Same.
on, most people I already know.
Mhm.
Knock on their doors and ask them how they feel about the name change, potential name change to the street again, and maybe ask if they have suggestions, or what kind of impact it would have on them. I'm curious about the impact portion too,
Mhm.
because that's really a wild card, because everybody's circumstances are different on what they're doing out of their house, because there's a lot of people that do work
Mhm.
gig jobs.
Correct.
So what is it that's attached to their address? So
Yeah.
I think that this is a broader question, but I have no problem going out in the public and knocking on doors.
Mhm.
There's enough time in the day. I'm kind of a chatty Cathy.
Right.
So,
Well, I would like, if possible, I mean, this could be a team effort, right? And it would be great to gain insight, but at the very least, just letting them know they are personally invited
Yeah.
to come and talk with us about this and share their story and the impacts that it would have on them personally. So,
Well, and I think some residents don't necessarily have the time to go to a meeting, but they
Right.
would be willing to fill out a survey or email their thoughts or something like that. We also have a Department of Neighborhoods and Citizen Engagement. So my hope is that the mayor would be a partner in this and have that department accompany us in any of this effort.
good idea. In terms of timing, I know that we certainly have a variety of different schedules we keep. I will make myself available. I guess I'll
Yeah.
say that on, for most of the summer or wherever this leads. What do we think is an appropriate amount of time as we move forward to, I assume, table this until we have more solid information?
I think because this is a discussion that's on here and not necessarily any kind of, we don't have a resolution of any kind doing any name change. I think that we
can just,
I think we drop it and take it off and we get the work done and then we come back. Because I think that you made an excellent point about the pause. It's not really great language. I think just, let's walk away, let's get what the things we need collected, and then maybe reconvene. And that may be next year by the time this is all done. Then the holiday season, which I totally get, vendors, and just people finding these businesses that live or die off of Christmas shopping. I mean, they certainly clean me out. But anyways, yeah.
I'm wondering, and this would be an OCA thing again, but, 2 of us is a quorum for this committee. So even if we're talking offline about this, I think that in some instances, like that could be a barrier within like
I think
moving
we
forward.
navigated that pretty well.
Yeah, so I'm just saying like I'm not opposed to keeping it as like a rolling item on the agenda, so folks have the opportunity to participate and weigh in, just so we have a sense of transparency.
How about this? This is something that I've seen done in the past. We can bring this back on a quarterly basis. if that works for the committee, so that it has a regular cadence of discussion. Maybe not every single meeting, but we will have,
I think that's great.
yeah.
And certainly people have the opportunity. I don't know that I've ever been on a committee where while it says agenda items, we have
Right.
limited anyone's comments to agenda items.
Sure.
So I would be comfortable with the quarterly on there until we either, do something or don't do something.
Yeah.
And I think that the question of the quorum is great, but I think if we're working in tandem to collect data from people rather than giving our opinions, that would not violate the Open Meetings Act, just like our meeting that we had.
That's the direction that we had from City Attorney Venker. We,
Yes.
in those spaces, we did not deliberate. And just to let the public know and those in the room, they were intentionally called listening sessions because we as council members were there to listen. We weren't there to, we certainly, there was conversation, but not to
We never gave
determine,
substance.
not to give our own personal opinions. We certainly just relayed information as to the process, not on, it wasn't anything deliberative.
Yeah.
On
not-
this topic. So I
Yeah.
think that we can coordinate sharing information.
Yeah.
And that would not be a violation of the Open Meetings Act. And
Yeah.
along the way, we can certainly check in with the city attorney's office just to ensure that everything's worded appropriately, that we're acting appropriately. And I think, maybe reaching out to Department of Neighborhoods and Citizen Engagement. I don't see why not. I think that's great.
I think That's a fantastic idea.
I think that the Open Meetings Act piece is less for us because I think we have an understanding of that. It's more so if someone who like out of the blue is like, oh, wait, what is going on with that thing? And then they come here and then they're like, where is it on your agenda? Do you see what I'm saying? So I feel like the quarterly piece is just helpful
Yeah.
to have like on an ongoing
Yeah,
basis.
and then just another note about, I learned after the meeting where it was previously tabled, we didn't necessarily have to table it. We could
No.
have moved it along. So I just want that understanding. I know we're doing it a little bit differently, but it wasn't required for us to table in the first place. That is just the action that we took at the time.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
okay. Well, with no other business, we are adjourned at 5:13 PM.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks everyone for being here.
My computer clock's